Growing up in the early to mid 2000s was such an interesting time, especially when it came to video games. I would consider myself a little bit more lucky than average kids getting 2 games a year. I got a whopping 3 games a year. That's because I would either put 1 to 2 games in my birthday or Christmas list. Now I mostly grew up as a Nintendo kid, although there was a few exceptions. So my very first gaming item was something special. Just imagine gaming on the go, compact but also fun. What did my parents get me? A Leapfrog. I can't remember for the life of me the games that this Leapfrog had. The only one that I can remember is just this Cars game from Disney. This Cars game had at least 2 modes, and the first one you were able to play as Lightning McQueen himself and race on the tracks. But for me, I didn't know how to play this game. I was just drifting on the sides. And then there was another mode where you would sort out items by their respective color. That wasn't even related to Cars. Why did they have that in there? To be fair, I was a pretty big fan of Cars at the time when my parents got me this. But the actual Leapfrog itself had such whack controls. I can't remember if the Leapfrog was used before, but the buttons were just so hard to press. I had to use the same amount of force that probably could have taken out the dinosaurs. But the actual first gaming console that I got was the PlayStation Portable. My dad gifted me this one, and it somehow had a whole archive of games. As a kid, this blew my mind of seeing the amounts of games that was in this PSP. It had Spider-Man, it had God of War Ghosts of Sparta, Sonic Rivals, you name it, this PSP had it all. One game that stood out to me was called Patapon 3. It was unlike any other game that I've played before. You use music and the sound of the game to progress? That was so crazy. Don't even get me started on the intro of the game. That was fire. These were all games that were gifted to me, but the first ever game that I played was not. I can't remember when this happened, but when my family and I went to one of our cousins' house, he took me to his room to show me a game that he's always played. And then he booted up Sonic the Hedgehog. My cousin was an esports pro at this game. He was just zooming through the levels like it was nothing. Eventually, he handed the controller over to me, and I experienced the most fun that I've had at that moment. I didn't get to play for it for very long because I kept dying all the time, but I was having an absolute blast. And that was some of my earliest experiences with games. And I still have a lot more stories based on video games. And if you guys want to hear more about that, please give me a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.